Coach Adam Hall here. Wanted to chat with you a little bit. First year out at Utah Valley. And you've been there since what, March or so after the NCAAs last year. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what went into that decision. And, you know, um, I'm sure you had a ton of options being a highly successful assistant coach. What went into your decision to come out to Utah Valley and take over this program?
Just the opportunity. When Greg Williams decided he was going to retire, um, previous fall, there were a number of people that reached out to me, and I told every single person, yeah, I was really serious about the job, and um, I got to talk with the administration, with Jared Sumption and sport administrator Clint Berge about the role, and they told me like, look, it's going to be a different situation because we don't have a month or two. We have more like 6 months to really figure this job out. So we're going to do a thorough job. And they did, and talked with them in September. Then this past January, circled back with the university president, President Tumenez. And that's when I knew that there was a lot of support at the school because I was like, outside of like football, basketball, baseball, those main sports, university presidents or provosts, they're not usually involved with searches unless it's like somebody big. And I was like, the fact that the university president wants to meet with the potential head coach of the wrestling program is huge. And come to find out, she's a huge supporter and was um, Matt's side for our dual meet this past Friday, and she's probably going to be at all our dual meets as much as she can.
It seemed like you had a pretty cool environment this past weekend.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I'm used to 5,000 fans. We got that when I was at NC State, and but they had never done that. In fact, I ran into President Tumenez's right hand person, Kyle Reyes, director of development at our university, and he was like, "I've been here 21 years and I've never seen anything like that." My feed was blowing up, and just creating a cool buzz, like a great environment for people to come and watch a sport they love.
Dive into it a little bit more. I think I'd like to hear what about Utah Valley stands out to you in terms of the school, the program, but the potential also that you see. I mean, obviously you have some community support, some university support behind you, but what do you see as the potential for the program or what stands out?
Well, it starts with people, just connecting people to the program, and namely recruits, just keeping a lot of the best guys in the state of Utah home. And it's been a process, like really coming full circle that, I had some people in the very beginning said, you have an uphill battle because there's a lot of people that don't want to go to UVU. And it's taken some time, but we've been able to secure commitments and sign four really, really great guys, some of the best guys in the state of Utah in this 2025 class. And we're pretty heavily on some 2026 guys and know that we're going to get some local guys to stay home. And you're building the community from the inside out, with the guys who are currently here, and then bringing in new people, because you're only as good as the people you surround your program with and the people you're bringing in that fit you. And when you're trying to establish a foundation, you're establishing it at a really high level and making sure it's set before you can move forward. Like you're not putting the cart before the horse. And we're currently building the cart right now. And so number one was just creating that buy-in from the community, and that's getting people to dual meets, that's keeping recruits home, that's getting people connected, that don't want to donate to the program, because I try to tell people and show people where it affects our program, and in terms of gear, trips, keeping people home, and getting the people here who are the lifeblood of the blood of the program. And that's our coaches, that's our dietitian, our strength coach, it's our support staff and our coaching staff, and trying to get the right people here and build that foundation, and then going from there. And so there's, like you said, a ton of potential. Just, I mean, Utah has the number one economy in the country, and like we have a thriving mentor program that's 30 plus people strong, that in different industries. And really our guys are seeing the value of being at this program, and eventually when they're done having jobs and internship opportunities. And so Really, it's kind of getting the best of all worlds, and it's just a great place to live. We're 35, 40 minutes from downtown Salt Lake and the international airport. We're 20 minutes from great fishing in the mountains, and there's just a lot of cool things going on. And so just trying to keep the momentum going and building support around the program it's been a job in itself, but it's been really fruitful.
For you as a head coach, what type of program do you want to build? What type of guys do you want to bring in? What type of people do you want to have? What do you want this program to be known as, I guess?
Gritty. Our university president she comes from a very gritty background from the Philippines, like I think one of six made it out of a pretty tough situation. And she's Harvard and MIT educated, was working at Microsoft before she was hired here. She has a very aggressive initiative at the school. She's been here since 2018, and there's 7 new buildings that are either finished or are currently being built, including our engineering building, our brand new soccer stadium. And I'd say within a year, we're going to break ground on a brand new athletic and academic center. And there's going to be a brand new wrestling room that literally yesterday I was seeing renderings of. And our AD, Jared Sumption, is also on an aggressive path to helping the athletic department make jumps and definitely our wrestling program. And so um, I definitely want our program to embody grit because that's basically starting from the top down. Our president didn't know what wrestling was, and a friend of the program, Jack Sunderledge, was able to bring her to a match, and she was hooked from that day forward because she just saw a sport that embodied grit. It was everything about this is hard, this is it, right? And so really just want to embody that, and I can give a shout out to Doug Schwab. I said, when the first week that I was here, I said, when you guys, because they're in our conference, when you guys think of Northern Iowa, like, what do you think? And they're like, they're a tough team. I said, all of them. All 10 guys, whoever is stepping out on the mat, you're getting a fight. And that is what I want. And because I said, when I showed up day one, I started my talk to the team with a question. I said, does anybody here know what a Wolverine actually is? They all kind of looked around. I said, I want you guys to look it up, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's the meanest, angriest, toughest 40-pound animal in the woods. And that is exactly what we are going to embody. Like, I want people to realize, like, I don't want to wrestle that team, right? That they're going to wrestle hard for 7 minutes or however long it takes. And if we make a mistake, we're going to lose. We're going to get beat. Right. And so, it's hard. I mean, like, I have to remind myself I'm in like month 7 or 8, and it's like I'm not
Right.
year 2 or 3. And I just have a high expectation, and I was a little disappointed after Oklahoma State, and there were some people who had to kind of bring me back down to earth and say, like, you were outclassed, right? And I just felt like we could have given a better effort. I thought we gave a better effort against Nebraska,
Mhm.
and I thought we had some opportunities slip away. And I just remind our guys, like, each week we get these opportunities to make a name for yourself. And I'm waiting for somebody to do that, right? For somebody to have a win that they're not supposed to. And they just decide, like, I'm going to be the guy. Right. And so that's why we created the schedule we did. And we're going down the path we did because I'm trying to create that gritty environment and just help guys understand that I need to embrace this instead of run from it.
Being 7 months in, fresh head coach, like what would you say is the biggest learning curve or learning lesson or most important lesson for you that you've sort of uncovered throughout this process, just for you as a coach?
That just because I'm a head coach doesn't mean the things that got me here, the things that helped me and other people around me be successful, a lot of that didn't change. And what that is relationships, right? It's just building relationships with new people and in a new environment. The other thing I have to remember is 3 assistant coaches and Jason Chamberlain as an RTC coach. We're all kind of in a new environment and connecting with new people, and there are new people who decided to come here and be a part of this program on top of the people who are currently here. um and so I think at the end of the day it is about relationships and just getting that buy-in from people.
So for you, you wrestled at Boise State, from Idaho, you have that Western background, Western US. And I know that's something that you've talked about before, but I'm curious, what about um, being where you are, the potential to build a program in the western part of the country, how meaningful that is to you, or how important it is for you that you could build something, close to home for you in an area of the country that isn't like the traditional, wrestling hotbed, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to be able to come back west. I mean, I spent 13 years on the East Coast and um just getting back to some roots and just connections that I have in the West because I built a lot of connections on the East Coast and in some great wrestling areas, and I'll lean on those at a certain point. But um yeah, I think just the opportunity. I look back on the team that was top 10 at Boise State, and all 10 guys were from the West,
Mhm.
in that top 10 team. So there's good wrestlers out here, and it's just putting them in the right environment and get them involved. Um,
From your perspective or through your lens, what do you think in terms of being successful in this sport? What has changed from your time as a competitor to your time as an assistant, now a head coach? Like, do you think you see the sport differently throughout your journey on what it takes to be successful?
Yeah, I think it's promotion, brand promotion and just social media presence. Um, One thing I'm happy about is there was some social media presence when I first got here, but we kind of went through a lull during the summer because there wasn't a whole lot going on. And I just pushed really hard to get that presence because I was telling our administration, our marketing department, our sports info director that we have to strike while the iron's hot and we can't let that cool off because it's really hard to get that going. It's the same thing with establishing a foundation. And if you don't establish a firm foundation, you end up having problems down the road that you're just having to deal with and manage and trying to reestablish norms or establish foundations. And it's the same thing with momentum. Like if you are able to capture stories and just constant engagement, you're going to draw people closer to the guys and people within our program, and then it feels real. They feel like they're a part of something. They feel like they can like I guess be connected to people within the program because of that. And so we've tried to really push a new brand what through gear. I mean, this last dual meet, there are 500 shirts that were handed out, and they're pretty sweet shirts. And just trying to just get our brand out there in the community because it's like, hey, what's that? People are able to talk about the dual meet with 5,000 people there and just how cool the environment was. So really, it was, when I was in college, I would look at like what the difference is and it is the social media presence and the necessity of promoting your brand on that platform.
Talk about your team a little bit. From a day-to-day perspective, what's standing out about your team or who is standing out? Is there anything that's right now just in your short time on the job, you're short into the season, but um, just would love to hear about your team, what you're seeing.
And seeing slow buy-in. It wasn't like, hey, let me jump in this pool. It's my I put my foot in and now I'm gonna put my legs in. And it's just going through these hard dual meets and these ones where we're walking into an uphill battle. It's just trying to get guys to believe that they're good enough. And it's just like I have to have a game plan. I have to wrestle and be at my best, but you wouldn't want it any way less. You wouldn't want like just like Prefontaine said, like giving anything less than your best is sacrificing a gift. And if you're wrestling in Division 1 and you're a starter at a program, like you're already in a small percentage of people. So it's like these little things at the highest level, it's the little things and making adjustments week to week. And our guys do that. We're putting in the time, the extra time, and our guys care. They're watching film, they're doing individuals, and just I think just I said it early, after the dual meet, and I said it this week to the guys in practice. Like I don't know who, like week to week, I'm just waiting for somebody to go off, to pop off because somebody's time is coming and they're just going to decide to be the guy and they don't care who they're wrestling and you're getting all these opportunities. I'm not trying to throw you to a gauntlet. It's I'm trying to give you as many opportunities you can to make a name for yourself and get to the national tournament and be prepared for the end of the year. Because at the end of the year, you're not hiding from anybody. You go to Vegas, you're not hiding from anybody. You go to the national tournament, you're not hiding from anybody, right? So
Talk to
I
me a
didn't
little
answer your
bit.
complete question though. Excitement, obviously Terrell.
Mhm.
There's a few guys who behind the scenes are getting there. They've taken some lumps, like a Cale Benny, Caleb Olenhop, Case Mauger. They've taken their lumps. Even Bridger Ricks. He's had barn burner matches with two top six guys in the country 2 weeks in a row. And it's not going to be any easier as we walk into NC State. But it's these guys are on the verge of breaking through and having a big win that's going to change the trajectory of their year and their career. So it's just waiting for that moment and just continuing to pump positivity into them and just embodying, like I said, that grit because it's not going to be easy.
Tell me more about Terrell Barr. He's currently, I think he's ranked top five. He's undefeated. Some big wins already early in the season. Transferred in from Penn State. There's a whole story there. But from your perspective, what has his journey been like in this, short window that you've been working with him?
Yeah, I have to get it out there to the public because I called him Bear Claw for months, and I finally heard him say his own last name. It's Bear Claw, and so I have
Thanks.
to make
That's
sure to
good.
mention that to the public,
Bear Claw.
because I think it's necessary. But he has injected uh just everything you want at the highest level. He got his degree in biomedical engineering, and he's currently getting his MBA in 1 year here. Um, he's just a very motivated person, and he's wanting to be successful in anything and everything he has his hands on. And so he ejected life that we had some leaders here, a Hayden Drury, that was kind of the team captain while he's been here, and we've been, injected some people into that leadership role, like a Case Mauger. He's kind of a behind the scenes, just does all the right things and doesn't say a whole lot, but is a big presence. And we actually voted a freshman, Riker Fulmer, who's starting for us at 157 as one of our other captains. And Terrell has kind of led that charge of doing the right things, holding people accountable, and really just being a great example in all areas of life. So he's everything that a coach could want and need. And um, I draw some comparisons to a Trent Hidley, a guy that I coached for 6 years, who was a 4.0 student, was the hardest worker in the room, was the most vocal guy, was the captain, did everything right, like everything that you can ask for.
How important is it for you to have someone like that on the team when you're trying to set this foundation of grittiness and the culture, right? And you have someone who's coming in and having immediate success and can sort of be a leader to the rest of the guys in the room and speak about your program.
It's vital for growth because there's only so much that I can preach. It's somebody who's living it, right?
Mhm.
Living them and around that. And I was that for a little bit when I was by myself, the only coach here, running practice, recruiting, doing all these things, wrestling with guys while I was running the workout, and I knew I had to hold myself to a high standard. And there'd be days when guys are like slacking off and they turn and look and see their coaches working harder than them. Like, of course, it's going to make them better because they're like, dang, like I got to get my stuff together. And it's the same thing with Terrell. He's not going to stop pushing. And again, you're gonna lose some guys along the way, right? But at the end of the day, I said this, I set our schedule, I set the bar, I set the expectations for the best. Terrell is trying to win a national title. And I'm not gonna say we're just trying to get people to the national tournament. No, like the standard is here, and we're pulling everybody up that is realizing that I have a lot more to give, and I have a lot more I'm a lot better than maybe people expected me to be, or I expected of myself. And I have an example in front of me, and that's Terrell.
Are there any dark horses, for lack of a better term, or just guys fans should keep an eye out on from your team throughout the season?
Yeah, Riker Fulmer. He does everything right. He decided because Terrell was at 65, like he's like, he probably is a 65 pounder, like long term. Just he's really tall, he's really long, he's had to manage his weight really well, but he's like, I'm gonna go 157 and take the spot. And I said, cool, love it. I told our guys like don't have the mindset like, I'll redshirt and like because you're already taking a back seat to whoever's going to start at that point. I said, if you're the guy, you're the guy. If you're the best guy in our room, you're wrestling. And he's embraced that completely. I wrestled with him yesterday and I said, your technique, your drill, your live, everything was intense. You were taking this seriously and I mean, he was in a barn burner match with a top 12 guy this last weekend. And he's a guy that I know. I don't know if it's Vegas, I don't know if it's this weekend. I don't know when and where, but he is going to find a win just because he is gritty, tough, and he wrestles hard. Right. And so keep an eye out for Riker Fulmer.
So this weekend should be pretty fun for you. You got Presbyterian, right? Duke, and then going against NC State, your former program. Are you excited? Are you excited for that opportunity, or just what are you looking forward to about that showdown specifically?
Yeah, it's another opportunity. They're a top 10 program. They're really well coached and um it's going to be fun. I look forward to seeing all the familiar faces and it's competition, right? And I'm going to be locked in, our guys are going to be locked in, but it is really cool. I built a lot of relationships there in the 9 years that I was there and the administration and the support staff, the academic services, just there's a lot of people, a lot of friends that left when we came out, my family and I came out to Utah, but um when we get there, it is business because they're not gonna give me an ounce, right? And nor should they, and we don't expect it. So, we expect actually. I told our guys, I was like, be ready for them to try to hurt you, try to disrespect you because they're like trying to stick it to the man. That like Timmy and I were their coaches at one point, and so like I embrace that. I think it's great. I don't expect anything less than a brawl. So.
Love it. Last thing for you, just Um, where can fans follow along with your journey or your team's journey as you work to build this program, and just any final thoughts you might have about the season ahead with your guys?
Yeah, just following our social media, like our actually yesterday, our marketing lead, who was the brains and the brawn behind all of the production for Friday, Cameron Deering, guy has pure hustle. He was like, your social media is now number one at our school. And I think it's just been the rise of, like I said, just promoting the people who are within the program and putting content out there and making this program real to a lot of people out there and like what goes on in the day to day and showing that they're the guys are they're human beings first and they can laugh at themselves, and so yeah, I'd just say go on social media and just follow what we're doing because we would love feedback too, just like, hey, you guys should think about doing this or this could be better. We're always up for constructive feedback and that's the biggest way outside of donating the program. And we're aside from obviously going through our foundation in our school, we have an active and strong regional training center, the Brunson UVRTC, and we're currently building out a website and have opportunities to give. And I know there are people out there that would just they want to support a movement, they want to support people, and they want to support the underdog, right? And so I'd really consider us that. I see us as that and have that chip on our shoulder, but there are multiple ways to support our program and I'm pretty open to just like just find me on social media, find me on our website or reach out to me. I'm more than willing to give my number out to people wanting to support the program. I have a pretty open door policy and with our program and with myself just trying to connect people to the program. So